Greetings everyone, welcome to Chess Advanced, and this game was played in Chennai Chess Masters 2025, and this is an absolute amazing game because this game is played between two prodigies. With the white pieces we have Vincent Keymer, and with the black pieces we have Speed King, Speed Demon, Nihal Sarin. So this is going to be one insane game, and with the white pieces Vincent starts with d4, we have knight to f6, c4 and just g6. Going for the king's Indian defense, we have knight to c3, d5, and here just going for this knight to f3, we have bishop to g7, bishop to g5, and here just c5, just going for the Petrosian system, Grunfeld defense. And here we have d captures, bishop to e6, but now just going for this knight to d3, and just trying to ruin a black's pawn structure. So here we have knight to c6, just not worried about that much. So here with the white pieces, Vincent goes for it. He goes for knight captures on e6, f captures, c captures, and here just knight captures. We have knight captures, e captures, everything gets traded off. Black gets an extra f file, open f file, and it's going to be very much difficult for black to castle either queen side or king side, because here c file is also open, so you have to be very much careful. We have queen to d2, rook to f8, and here we have rook to d1, and here we have bishop to d4, just getting that bishop nicely aligned, but unfortunately it's not a good move, and Vincent is going to take advantage of it. He goes for e3, and where are we putting the bishop now? We have bishop captures on f5, but here just a3, not worried about losing that pawn. d4, and in this position white has to make choice as to what to do with this position. You could actually immediately go for this very nice line with bishop to h6, attacking the rook, and there you don't have actual time to actually do anything about that rook. The best move in this position is d caps on e3, just opening up this file, and here after queen captures, knight captures, you play this rook to b bishop to b5 check, knight blocks, and here just bishop caps on f8. Then you'll get this e captures on f2, king to e2, king captures, rook to d5, just attacking that bishop. Bishop moves, and here after bishop captures on c6, and b captures, attacking the rook. Rook to d3, king to g7, rook to c1, but here just bishop to rook to f8, and this is, I think this just might just be one of those positions where you're in exchange down, but the position is still a draw, and it would have been exactly that, and no issues whatsoever. But in this position, actually what Vincent did, he goes for b4, attacking the bishop. It's not a bad move, but it's not the accurate one. Here we have bishop to b6, but here just bishop to h6, going for the same moves but just in a different order. We have d captures, queen caps on d8, knight captures, and just bishop to b5 check, knight blocks, and here we have bishop caps on c6, b captures, bishop caps on f8, and here just e captures, and we have this king to e2, king caps on f8, rook to c1, and here just we have this king to g7. And here Vincent, you're giving a free pawn, so here Vincent just obliges. He's like, thank you very much for the pawn, and here just rook to f8, but here just a4, and now that is definitely coming to weaken the side. So here bishop to d4 was played, but now just rook to b1, and here those pawns are definitely marching forward, and you have to be very much careful in this position. And we have rapid time format, so it's 45 plus 30, so you're gonna have to be very much careful. I think Nihal Sarin was down to 53 seconds when he was playing this position, and he was I think not even worried about it, honestly. That's how good he is at fast chess and able to find moves in time trouble, that he was just chilling. He was looking at the camera while Vincent was thinking and trying to find the accurate move, and it was absolutely sarcastic and insane. A rook to b8 was played, but now just we have rook to c4, e5, and just getting that getting that in the center of the board. I mean, that's a very annoying bishop, honestly speaking. But here just rook to c7 check, but now just king to h6, h4, and here we have king to h5, just trying to go for that pawn, but here just rook caps on h7, king to g4, we have rook to g7, and here we have rook to b6, and this rook to b6 move just unfortunately doesn't work for Nihal. b5 was played, but b5 is not the best move to approach this either. We have rook to d6, but now here a5. Both players are very much down on the clock, so they are bound to make some mistakes. Here king caps on h4 was played, but just rook to c7, and here after g5, rook to c6, rook to d7, and here in this position you have to be very much careful, because with white, what do you play in this position? I'm going to ask you to pause the video and try and find out the only move which gives you the edge in this position while I give you a couple of seconds. So congratulations to everyone who's able to find this move. The idea is that you have to, one way or another, actually give back the exchange and then push those pawns to victory, because it's going to be very much difficult for black to hold this with these isolated pawns. So you go for first rook to c4, king to g3, you play king back to f1 because you don't want them to actually just try and capture this pawn and then promote. So here rook to b7, but here just rook b to b4. You play rook to b8, b6, but now this comes a captures, rook to b7, and here Then very nice move. You go first rook to b3 check, king to f4, and rook captures on d4. And here after e captures, now you play this king captures on f2, king to e5, king to e2, king to e4, and here just rook to b4, just not allowing that pawn to be pushed. And here once you play g4, you play g3, just cutting off the king from all these front squares. So here you have to go back if you want to move the king, or you could move the rook back, but then I push and then you're gonna have to move the king. So why waste a tempo here? Just king to f5, but just king to d3, and you're slowly going to lose that pawn. King to e5, but here just rook to b5 check. And again, all of these squares are covered, so now you have to go back. King moves back, king caps on d4, and here after king to c6, you play just rook to b4, rook to d7 check, king to e5, and slowly you're just going to gobble up this pawn as well. And most likely you're going to push. Black would have to sacrifice the rook or exchange the rook for that matter. This pawn is going to be pushed, and it's an easy endgame win. And that was as easy as it gets. But with very little time on the clock, Vincent was not able to see it through. In this rook to d7, he played b6 right away, and it does not work because here a captures, but just rook to b7 was played. And how do you push that pawn forward? We have rook to b3, g4. You can never actually push that pawn forward, because if you try this, then just captures, rook captures, and after that, I mean, you can try and attack this pawn, but I'm just going to bring the bishop back. I'm going to have a very nice game with these pawns, and you're going to have just one pawn that you cannot push, and most likely we're going to end this game in a draw. But here in this position, Nihal wanted the win. He desperately wanted the win and start off the tournament with an absolute bang. So in this position, he hit g3 was played, king to g5, but just rook to d6, bishop to c5. With moves like this, maybe just maybe you're holding after rook to c6, but it's just very much difficult to find these moves. Here after rook to d6, here bishop to c5 was played, and here after rook to g6, we have king to h5, attacking the rook. Rook moves, bishop to d4, and rook to d6 was played, bishop to c5 again, just repeating the same moves, gaining some time on the clock. Rook to e6, bishop to d4, we have g3,